Please welcome first-time DynamicsCon speaker, Jolie Tanigawa. Today she will be presenting her session, What? Out of the Box, Credit and Collections. Please stick around after Jolie's session for a live Q&A.
Welcome to DynamicsCon Virtual. My name is Jolie Tanigawa. Today's presentation is going to be What? Out of the Box, Credit and Collections. First, I just want to say thank you to everyone who voted for me. This was a huge opportunity and very exciting. I was introduced to D365 in 2018, and I immediately fell in love with D365. I had the opportunity to go to many conferences and hear a lot of speakers, and I always thought it would be such a great opportunity to be one of those speakers, and now here I am. So super excited to share the information I have for you today. If you need to get a hold of me, I've put some information in the slide of ways to reach me. I do also have a YouTube channel that comes from an accounting and finance background that gives you some tips in Dynamics that could help you along the way. Today's goal is to provide information. So we're going to be providing information to companies who wonder if the out-of-the-box credit and collection solution meets their requirements. We are going to be speaking directly to credit managers who need help organizing their collection strategies. And we are going to be sharing from an end user perspective to help end users navigate through the credit and collections workspace. Today's agenda. So we are going to take a quick overview of the credit and collections workspace. We are going to talk about collection strategies. We are going to take a few minutes to talk about the collection process automation. Everybody loves automations, but what YouTube doesn't tell you, we're going to talk about risk scoring groups. And those risk scoring groups are ways that you can easily update your credit limits based on risk scoring levels, customer statistics, and we're going to talk about reporting Show Me the Money, everybody's favorite. And finally, the Q&A. If you do have any questions, drop your questions into the conference chat and we will definitely address them at the Q&A. All right, let's get started. So credit collections workspace overview. I'm going to go ahead and just jump into the demonstration. Okay, so we are in D365 and we're at a home page. Now from here, I want to just point out in the credit and collections module, the starred areas that I have today are areas that we are going to touch, talk about during this presentation. And you can always use, if I go too fast or I have, to save time, I have opened up some tabs here so we can directly go to those screens instead of waiting a few seconds for the module to open. But you can also search here in your search bar. If I bring up anything and you want to know where it's at, you can search for the name here in the search bar. So for right now, I'm going to go directly into the customer credit and collections workspace. Really quickly though, before we move in, I want to make a statement about the customer credit and collections workspace. This is really not something I've seen on YouTube either, but customer credit and collections. The collections part of D365 is phenomenal. You can use collections for any cash collection strategies for any invoice, your project invoices, your sales order invoices, and your free text invoices. The collection strategies work for all, and it's really amazing out-of-the-box functionality that I'm going to share some really good points today. The customer credit management side is separate from the collections, but it's all together. I know that's kind of confusing. Here is Microsoft's definition. Credit management significantly enhances your ability to manage credit for sales order invoicing. So what does that mean? That means some of the functionality in credit management only works for the sales order part of the collections. So meaning the blocking. If we had a customer whose credit limits were exceeded, then only the blocking would happen in sales orders, not in project management yet. Hopefully, someone in Microsoft is watching this. We definitely hope to see that soon, as well as free text invoices. But all your balances, all your reporting, all your collections, all of that works for all your invoices. Okay, so I just had to get that out there because it's really important that there is a customer credit and collections. Let's talk about the collections part now. So once you click this workspace, you're going to come directly to this. This is your workspace. Now, the first thing I want to point out is if you come here for the first time and you see a notification that looks like this. No aging snapshot exists for aging period definition. Well, it's a little confusing because there's not anything out there that's called an aging snapshot. Let me tell you what Microsoft means. They mean this. There's this down here at the very bottom of the screen, you'll see periodic age customer balances. This age customer balances and this update aging are the same thing. What that does is it pulls in all the recent or the most recent posted invoices, project invoices, sales invoice, it doesn't matter, free text invoices, anything posted and any posted customer payments, any unsettlements that happen, it pulls them into this module, I'm sorry, this workspace. Okay, so this needs to be run on a daily basis, and I recommend that it be done in the middle of the night. So anywhere from midnight to maybe 4 in the morning when there's not a lot of users in, because depending on the amount of transactions you have, it might bog it down if you try to run it during normal business hours. So let me quickly show you how to do this batch job on the age customer balance. You can do this for just one customer. It really doesn't make sense because if you run this batch job in the middle of the night, when your credit team comes in to start working their collections, then they're able to just know that the data they're working with is real-time data. So you simply come here, select your parameters, and then on batch processing, you just toggle this to yes. Now, this only needs to be set up one time, typically by an admin or manager. And then the reoccurrence here, you would just pick your time zone. You would change the start time to be maybe 3 a.m. with no end date. And here you go. Change it to days and do every weekday. That's a recommendation. Now, every weekday when your collection team comes in, they have real-time data. Now, what happens? I'm not going to run this right now because I've already ran it. You see the real-time data here. But what happens if I have a customer who makes a payment and they say, well, we've made a payment. We know it's already posted. We want real-time data. Or a customer says they want a statement, and you just want to make sure that all invoices and all posted payments are reflected on that statement. No problem. Click your customer and do update aging here. When you update that aging, it pulls in those posted invoices. It pulls in those posted payments and anything unsettled. It all pulls it in to give you real-time data, but it doesn't bog down the system like all the transactions would. So great job, Microsoft, on that. Okay, so that's the first and foremost thing. Now, let's go over here and talk about these tabs. These tabs are very helpful for your collection team. When they come in, the very first one, and Microsoft is great, anything overdue. So the day after an invoice due date, that balance will show up here. And your collection team, now notice we have these pools here. We're going to talk about those in your strategies in the next slide. But notice how just pertinent information that applies. Now, what I love about what Microsoft's done here is if you hover over this amount, it gives you the aged balances. So if you have a customer, I think, let's see, Sunset was one of them. No, maybe not. Yellow Square. Well, okay. So you can see Roy and Brothers has something in 90 days, 30 days. So you can see the aged balances just by hovering over, as well as on the name of the customer. You get a little bit more information, their terms of payment, just by hovering over the name. Really amazing functionality. Okay, so here's some good information. Let's go to the next tab. The next tab is wonderful, aged balances. Aged balances will give you just that, your aged balances, but it gives it to you in buckets for only the customers identified as your assigned pool. Again, we'll talk about that here in a moment, but here we go. Love this table. Now you have credit limits, customers on hold. I'm not going to go into these cases. Cases is definitely a longer conversation, so we'll save that for another presentation. Activities, so only activities assigned to you for this pool. Notes on all your customers in one spot. We're going to talk more about that. And open payment journals. I want to talk a minute about open payment journals. Why did Microsoft put this here? That is because you sometimes will contact a customer who says they've made a payment, maybe the day that you've contacted them. You can come here and see, yes, they sure did. They made the payment. We have it, but it hasn't been approved through maybe the workflow and it hasn't been posted to the ledger. So these are open payment journals that are in the process of getting posted. I like how Microsoft put those there. Just real quickly, we're going to talk about links. Here is a direct link to your customer master. Love that about Microsoft. Easy. Everything you need to know for collections is all here. We're not going to talk about this collection letters. That's another presentation. What we are going to jump into in the next few slides is setup. So let me go back. And let's go to the next slide here. Collection strategies. We are going to talk about customer pools. Now, I have put these as the number one collection strategies for a reason. They're really important for a collection team to define collection pools. We're going to talk about a few examples. We're going to set up some pool criteria. We're going to preview a pool. Our next collection strategy is setting up our collection agents, which we are going to assign our pools to those agents. Now, why is this decision an important part of a collection strategy? If there's a group of people, I would love to get the feedback. Why is it so important? Well, communication and accountability. Communication, right? We need to be able to have a way to communicate to our collection agents what they are assigned to take care of. And then we also need to be able to have a point of contact or accountability for our collection efforts so we know who to go to if we have any questions. Okay, customer statements, everybody's favorites. How do I get my customer statements? I love it. Microsoft has given us some really great out of the box tools for sending customer statements. Can't wait to share those. We'll do some monthly statements and some individual statements. And then lastly, collection status and activities. So we are going to update some statuses. We are going to define what is a user status update versus a system status update. And we're also going to talk about user created activities versus system created activities. Let's go ahead and do a demonstration of those collection strategies. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's go down here to setup and we'll start with customer pools. Microsoft has a few out of the box. I'm going to show you a few tips that might help you along the way. So Microsoft does usually one out of the box for all customers. So depending on how your customer accounts are identified in your number sequences, in this case, A to Z to Z for your customer accounts. And we have A through M, and we have N through Z. These are all based on your customer names. We have over 180, so this will be in the over 180 day buckets. And then I have created one for one specific customer. So you might have a situation where you have one employee or one person on your credit team who handles one customer. That's great. We can definitely define that pool for them so they only have this pool in their collection workspace. So you can see I have set up this pool criteria here for just one customer. But we do not want this this customer included in our N to Z pool because that would be duplicating efforts. So what I had to do here, and you can see, is I had to exclude that customer from this pool. So I'm going to select the pool criteria. takes a second to open up. Now, I've added a few other things that are not out of the box, um, and I want to show you why. Okay, so real quickly, this exclamation mark means exclude this customer. This global address book says give me all customers N through Z. And this little feature or tip here is amount due balance not equal to 0. And I'm going to show you what that does. Now, one other thing I want to share with you. This customer's name feature is not working in D365. And I put a note to Microsoft. So what will end up happening is you're going to get this weird notification about the query for customer name. Don't worry about it. Just close it. It's not going to affect any of your pools. I'm going to show you that here in a second of how to remove that. Okay, so now that we have this, we can preview our customer pool. We should expect not to see this sparrow. So here under sparrow, if we preview our customer pool, we can see Sparrow Retail. This is exactly what we would like to see on this pool for this collection agent. If we go to N to Z and we preview a customer pool, we see no Sparrow here, which is exactly what we need, and we see all customers N through Z, exactly what we need. Now that little trick I showed you with the exclamation mark, 0 exclamation mark, what does that do? I'm going to show you. So we're going to remove it here. And I'm also going to show you that if you simply remove this customer name, doesn't hurt anything, and you just select OK, that query notification goes away. Don't have to worry about it. But if you preview this customer pool, see how these zeros in the amount due balance show up? If you are a company who likes to see the $0, absolutely you can leave it. If you don't, and I don't, I like to get rid of them, set that pool criteria to be amount due balance and exclude anything with 0, and you'll get a customer pool without the zeros. So hopefully that's a helpful tip, and it'll look something like this. Okay, so now we have assigned some pools. We have some pools. Now, over 180 obviously is a really important pool, but you can add to your pools however your company designates accountability. Let's jump in to our collection agents. So here under setup, we're going to go to collection agents. Now, Jody, she's the employee who handles only Sparrow Retail. I, on the other hand, I am mainly focused on our customers N to Z, but I'm helping out Connie as well. Connie is specifically responsible for anything over 180 days past due. Now notice I can add another pool to myself, but it's not defaulted. And I'm going to show you what that means by defaulted. But Arnie is the manager, the credit manager. So he's going to see all collection pools by toggling this to yes. Why don't we want this toggled yes for all collection agents? It can tend to get confusing. The best thing to do is only assign the collection agent to the pools that they're responsible for. Now, if we go back to our, yes, here, and I open my pool dropdown, N to Z is my defaulted pool ID, but I do have the option of coming here and helping Connie on anything over 180 days past due. Okay, that's the second collection strategy. Let's talk about customer statements, our next strategy. All right. So for Oak Company, I selected Oak Company here by just searching for them. I'm going to select inside to get to the collection page. This is our wonderful handy dandy collection page. There's a lot of functionality here for a collection team. I could go on and on about the amazing functionality in this screen, but for right now, I'm going to try to stay focused on statements. So under communicate, you have email and you have statements. But I want to point out what's the very important thing about this is over here to the right under related information, under the contact, you need a contact chosen. Now, I have two contacts. Myself, I'm responsible for the North invoices or the North plant, and maybe Laura is responsible for the South plant. I'm also responsible for headquarters as well. So keep that in mind. Now, once I select myself, I have some options over here, transactions to contact. Now, these contacts come from the customer master contact card. I can quickly show that to you here. You can see contacts and you can add a contact, add Microsoft Outlook contacts. But if we go to view contacts, that's where you're going to see the two contacts that I've added. Now, that's really important. And you're able to, if you have different locations, you're able to add those contacts for several different locations. So you do need a contact on your customer master contact card, and you would just add these as many contacts as you need. Now, why is that important? Because you can send specific transactions to a specific contact. So for example, if I handle all the North invoices and these are all the North invoices, I can come up here, make sure I've got my contact myself selected and say transactions to contact. Now, Microsoft has this beautiful out of the box. There are some templates that you have to set up. Reach out if you need help, but this is out of the box. Now, when I open this email, it only has this Excel, it only has the transactions that I've selected. Now, this second tab is basically the same thing, but you can see in red the past due amount. This is all out of the box functionality. Beautiful. I hit send, I send to my customer, I'm good to go. But you could also create this, and if you don't want to send it to your customer, send it to your sales team to say, hey, can you follow up as to why these aren't paid yet? You can really send these to anybody in your collection team if you'd like. Hey, is there any way you can call them and make sure that these get paid and so forth? That's an option. Now, if you want to just send all the transactions, that's super easy. You say statement to contact. You can say aging as of today. I would say only open, right, is what you'd like to see. You select OK. Microsoft does this out of the box. Beautiful, ready to go to your customer. This is all their transactions. I like this because Microsoft has given us a summary page with our buckets. Again, guys, out of the box, it's beautiful. It looks great. Send it to your customer, forward. Here's that second tab with all your past due balances. Thank you, Microsoft. Beautiful. Send, you're done. Your customer has a statement. Okay, what about, and I know you guys are asking, what about monthly batch statements, right? You want your customer to just get an automated statement. We can do that. Here under statements, from here you select your parameters. For a statement, just leave everything blank, no dates needed, only open, balance other than zero, and then aging period definitions is going to be your standard. Now, you can do this to a screen, create a PDF, send it via email yourself, or save it to a file, then grab it from the file, save it through Outlook. You can absolutely do that. You have a lot of options here. But if you wanted to send it through email, you can absolutely do that. Here's a couple of things I want to share with you. If you want to just send it directly to your customer, you can do that. Out of the box, there's a little bit of limitations. Now, if you do @business @ this will look at the customer master, not the contact cards, customer master, and it'll grab the email, the primary email on the customer master, and it will send the statement to that email every month. But what it looks like is this. Hopefully you can see this. It is an email, no signature, nothing but whatever you put in this subject. That's a limitation. What you can do is send this to yourself every first of the month. And then you can do I'm just going to show you something really neat if you didn't know, is templates. So if you get this every first of the month, you know you need to send it to your customer, you can hit this forward button, and there's this view templates over here, and you can create a template that has hello valid customer, please accept this, something like that. But these templates over here are perfect. Then you add your customer's email, then you send it on. It's totally up to you. That's an option. Otherwise, they're just going to get something that looks like this every month. If you're happy with that, because again, your customer's getting a statement, you can definitely set that up here. You would select the email that it goes to, select OK, come down here, select your batch, make sure you put the company information in, because I'm going to show you why. Reoccurrence, no end date. I would do it at a normal business hour, maybe when everybody's getting in, 8 a.m. Once a month. So you want to do once a month on the first of every month. Select OK, select OK. Now this batch job is running. Now you can go to My Batch Jobs, and you can see, you can even type in here statements to see all the customers that you've set up batch statements. So you can see this is waiting for March 1st at 8 a.m. And this statement is waiting for March 1st at 9:37 a.m. Beautiful. And you can also go to your email history if you ever wanted to see what statements have been sent out. Love that functionality out of the box for you. Okay, so we're done with statements. Let's talk about, let's go to our next, let's go back here and let's talk about our collection status and activities. So let's come here to a specific customer that we're working with, Oak Company. Let's go into the collection page. Now, I have already updated a few of the collection statuses. Now, let me go ahead and drop this down. Now, you can see collection status, promise to pay, disputed, promise to pay broken. Oh, this one's promise to pay broken now, and not disputed. Okay, let's talk about these statuses really quick, because as a collection agent, you're probably wondering, what are these statuses? How can I change them because they don't match up with my business? You can't change them, but they can work for you. Let me show you how. Every invoice that's created comes into not disputed. And let's just talk about these top three. Disputed. If a customer disputes an invoice, your collection agent will change the status to disputed. That's basic. If the customer promises to pay after you've reached out, you can change your status to promise to pay. These are all user changed statuses. Now, Microsoft has allowed you to use these other three: resolved, promise to pay broken, and promise to pay kept. But really, agents don't need to update those. The system will update those for you. Your collection agents only need to worry about the top three. Why? Because if a promise to pay is broken, the system will change the status. Let me show you what I mean by that. It's really neat. So I'm going to go up here under collect, I'm not statistics, under collection history. I'm going to say, show me all the collection history for this customer. I just want to see everything. So I removed all the parameters. Now, let me show you on this invoice. Now, if you don't have invoice column here, no worries, reach out. I'll show you how to add this in. You just right click and insert columns and add this invoice and then save your view. Okay. It's important for me to see the invoice, but you can see here, I had a promise to pay from a customer. That promise to pay was broken because a customer payment was not posted by the date I told it that the customer was going to pay. So now I changed the status again to that. Okay, I called the customer. The customer again promises they're going to pay, but again, it's been broken. So those promise to pay broken. Now, let me show you what happens here when a promise to pay is kept. So promise to pay, the system recognizes when the payment was applied that there was a promise to pay. The system posted, hey, a payment posted, that promise to pay was kept, and it's now in a resolved status. That is how you can tell what is a user-defined status and what is a system-designed. I would recommend keeping that the top three be user, the top bottom you always know are system. Okay. As far as your activities, activities are wonderful. When you change a status, and say I change this to promise to pay, you have a reason code, but you have this create follow-up task. The system is going to create a task for you to follow up on this promise to pay on 225. I'm sorry, you are setting up a user activity for yourself to follow up on this, but it's not really necessary if you really know your customer is going to pay, because the system is going to create a promise to pay broken. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So let me show you what that means. So I'm going to show all open and closed. This promise to pay broken is a system, I'm sorry, let me make sure I understand. Yeah, it's a system generated promise to pay broken activity. If I say, show me linked, it shows me the exact invoice that this activity was created for. And then I'm going to go back to show all. And actually, let me see, only open. And let me follow up on this disputed, show linked. Now, if I find out this disputed is no longer, it's resolved now, then I want to put not disputed instead of resolved, and then change the status, meaning it's going to get paid. Now I can close this activity. Anytime you can always create a follow-up task. These are user-created tasks. The system will also, let me show all. Here we go, show all. The system will also create tasks for you as well if there is a promise to pay broken. That's the difference between system and created activities. System and user created activities. Okay, let's move on to, we're out of strategies. I hope you enjoyed the collection strategies. There's definitely a lot more strategies, but those are really the most important. Your statements, your collection pools, your collection agents, assign those, get those set up for accountability and communication. Let's talk about our collection process automation. There is a YouTube video, happy to share it with anyone. It was a beautiful video. Teaches you how to set up your collection process automations in 4 easy steps. It works. Let me share with you what YouTube doesn't tell you. So here's the setup. Now, the first thing that the automations does not tell you is this only works for free text invoices and sales order invoices. No automations here at this point will work for project invoices. Darn it. I hope it comes soon. Secondly, what do you think about when you think about automations? You think, if I have any old invoices over 180 days, my customer will get an email automatically, automations, letting them know they need to make a payment. Yes and no. What you don't know, what you don't hear on YouTube, is it only sends out the oldest invoice. So if your customer has 5 invoices that are 180 days past due, this automation only sends out the oldest one. Once the oldest one is paid, then when the automation runs again, it'll grab the next oldest 180 and the next one. Now, if your customer pays daily, you could set up this quiet days. And what that does is if they get an automation notification for that oldest invoice and they happen to pay it that same day, when that automation runs the next morning, it will recognize that we need to send out a notification for the next oldest invoice, but because we have this 2 days, we're not going to send this out for 2 more days. Pretty cool, huh? Okay, so I want to show you that on this simulation, what I'm talking about by only works for free text invoices and the oldest invoice. Now on my aging, I have plenty of invoices over 180. This is a demo environment. There's 2017 invoices out there that have not been paid. But But notice on my customers, I only have one customer running on this automation on this run date. Exactly what I was telling you. It's only picking one invoice per customer for the oldest invoice. Now look at all the free text invoices here. Our project invoices are numbered differently in this demo environment, but here free text invoices and sales order invoices are the only ones this automation are working on. All right, setup's easy, super fun to set up these document. This is the email, really easy out of the box to set up. The HTML, super easy. This is what your customer will get. It comes to our attention that your account is over 180 days past due. Super, super exciting to have this out of the box functionality. But what YouTube doesn't tell you is you have to have an email on the customer master record. Let's go back to a customer really quickly and I'll tell you what I mean. Because this is an automation, it can't determine different contacts. So you need one contact here as a primary to be able to send this automation. If there's not an email address on the customer master record, this automation will not work. All right, I hope you enjoyed that. Let's jump in to our next slide. I put this here in case you need it, just what we talked about, that automations only work for free text and sales order invoices. Automations only work on the email notifications for oldest invoice, and customer must have an email on the customer master card. Risk scoring groups. These are super fun. So we're going to configure and calculate a customer's potential risk out of the box. How does that work? All right, let's go into a customer. Now, I'm in Oak Company, and if you'll see here, we have a credit and collections tab. Now, when I was talking to you about the credit and collections, these 4 columns are really focused around credit, and these over here to the right, collections. But a whole nother conversation about these setups, but you can basically see the credit limits, limit expiration, but look at this risk. So these are important to have filled out for your risk scores. Now up here under credit management, under risk score, we're going to select risk score. This is great. This is your risk score. Now, based on your risk score, you're going to have a risk group. Here are your scoring groups that are really easy to set up. Out of the box, Microsoft has given us average balance for 12 months. Now, you do have to run a batch job to get these calculations to work. These are not manually done, and that's fine. USA, this one was a little odd to me, right? But if your risks are higher for other countries, mainly because the collection efforts might be a little bit more difficult. So here, this country is USA, but check this one out, D&B ratings. You can put a score for a D&B ratings. Now, why is this? Now, this is user defined, meaning you create this on your own. This specific customer had a D&B rating of A3. Now, what's really neat is under credit and collections, you have your scoring groups, which we just talked about, but you have risk classification. Now, this is where you're based on your scoring, based on your customer scoring, you get a group or classification, low, medium, or high. And then based on this classification, you can set up automatic credit limits. So if I have low risk, and here is a hierarchy of automatic credit limits. So if they're low risk and they have an average days of 65, average days of paying, then it's going to be, they're automatically going to get their credit limit reduced to 75,000. And here, actually, we want to move this down, right? And we want to move these up because what the system will do is it will read these scores. So right now, I'm going to show you a quick demo. See, my score here is low 22, but see my average days to pay is 2,089. Now, if I come here to credit limit adjustment, see my credit limit now? And I say new, this is a really neat function. and I go to lines. Now, this isn't any financial, so it's okay to post it. It's just changing your credit limits. Go to automated credit limits. Now, I have this set for just this customer, and I select OK. Because that average balance, now I could do this for all customers, but see how my new credit limit is now 75,000? You can do this by simply doing all your customers by removing this filter for customer account. This is really neat. And then you can post new credit limits for all your customers based on their risk scoring. I love it. Okay, so that is what I wanted to show you about risk score, automatic. Now, customer credit statistics. All right, let's just look at a demo and get straight into that as well. So now we're in Oak Company. Now, over to the right, you will see credit statistics. The system will not automatically refresh these every time. You're going to have to manually come over here and refresh. But when you do that, you're going to get your DSO if applicable, your average payment days, which is terrible for this customer. Again, it's a demo environment. Average balance, their credit rating based on what you have here, the risk score. Oh, where'd it go? There we go. Risk score, risk group, credit limit, exposure. Love exposure, whole nother presentation for that as well. Percentage of credit limit. This is a great way to quickly see your customer credit statistics. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Oh, favorite, show me the money. All right, so we're going to do a detailed due date list report, a customer balance list with credit limit report. I love both of these reports are amazing for collection teams. And then we're going to talk about statistics on collections and customer balance statistics. Let's jump into the demonstration. Okay, so I already have the detailed due date list open. Since it might take a minute to open, I wanted to show you what it looks like. Now, I do want to show you the parameters behind opening this. So under your inquiries and reports, it's called detailed due date list report. So here's the parameters for your detailed due date list report. You can see every invoice that is due to you as a company, what is due, what cash is due to come in as of today's date by simply changing this date to today's date and selecting OK. Now, this report is amazing. You have remainder not settled, you have days past due, you have invoices, and you have customer accounts. The only thing about Microsoft's out of the box is if you scroll to the bottom of this, there is no total. But if you export this to CSV or Excel, you can quickly get the totals to know what kind of cash you're expected to get and when. Okay, the next report I'm going to show you is the customer balance list with credit limit. Again, out of the box reporting, all your collections, all your aged collections for both of these reports. So there's no project or sales order or free text invoice. It's all included in these balances. This will show your balance and what you've exceeded for your credit limit. So it's going to show your credit limit, your balance, and the exceeded amount. And then if there's a hold on your customer, you're also going to see that. So this is really a great summary to show what your customer's open balance compared to their credit limit is. Now, two things I want to tell you about both of these. The detailed due date. I'm an accountant. Everything in me wants to reconcile and make sure that you can tie back to these reports. This report does not include unsettled payments. Okay, this due date is only credits, like credit notes and invoices. Anything that is an unsettled payment, so meaning a customer has paid and it's not settled against an invoice, it's not going to come up here. Makes sense, right? Okay, I want to share with you two things about these reports. The detailed due date list report does include unsettled payments. Okay, so you can see these three payments here have been applied as a payment to this customer, but have not been settled against any invoices. This detailed due date list, so it's an accurate reflection of the cash you are going to receive, this report will do. This report here customer balance list with credit limit, these balances are straight balances for your credit notes and invoices. It has nothing to do with your unapplied payments. Just want to share that with you. Okay, and finally, we're going to talk about just some individuals. So let's go back to your collections and let's look at up here under collection. We're going to look at these statistics. I've got two more reports for you. We're going to open these statistics. Your collection team will love this. This is amazing. This report by customer will show you the last invoice date, the last invoice amount, last payment amount, any collection letters, the latest collection letter. But look over here to the right, highest balance and average invoice. In addition, you can see period statistics. Now you can add new statistics for any period you'd like to this report. And as you can see, it gives you an ongoing number as well. This is great for your collection team. And finally, this is beautiful. It's called Customer Balance Statistics. Um, it is here under Credit Management. So it's under Inquiries and Reports. Let's go back. Inquiries and Reports, Customer Balance Statistics. This is a really neat report. So here you can select your customer. And then finally, you can use this customer balance statistics. It's a beautiful report, but you do have to manually come in here at least once a month. And then you can periodically come in here and see how your customers' balances are increasing, decreasing, to look at your credit limits, your exposures, how your customers are doing. Alrighty, so that was reporting Show Me the Money. This has been such a great opportunity to share credit and collections. As you can see, there's so much functionality, but so much more to share with you. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope it reached the goals of giving informations to credit managers, to companies looking to use out-of-the-box solutions, or to end users who just need a little bit of help navigating through credit and collections workspace. It's been such a great opportunity, and thank you.